What's good YouTube? Mario Devon back with yet another video. So this video is going to be a little bit different. So you've seen me build a cinema rig. I've even shown you a cinema rig with something like the Z-Cam. But the secret here I want you to understand is that you can build a cinema rig out of any camera. It doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter the weight, doesn't matter the build. There's always a way to build a cinema rig with any camera out there that you have, I have, we have. Well, let's talk about the purpose of a cinema rig. You know, the cinema rig is a great thing to have in a run and gun situation, especially when you're on a more professional set. Other reasons why it's good to have a run and gun setup like this, like a cinema build, is so that you can have, you know, places to put a shotgun mic or places to put something like a monitor so you can make sure you got the right exposure for your shots. Because we all know sometimes the monitor that comes with our, you know, cameras that is not really big enough to really do professional work. With some cinema builds, you may use a camera that has autofocus, but other times you're using a camera with manual focus. You may need a follow focus to add to that cinema rig. And the cool thing about having a cinema rig is that you have a V-mount battery that powers everything. So that is going to power the camera, it's going to power the monitor. Anything that is connected to the camera build that runs on electricity, any power, you can use that V-mount battery to supply power to everything on the build. But again, the secret here is that you can do this with any camera that's out there. You can build it with any camera. You can use your camera, my camera, mirrorless camera, big camera, bigger camera, doesn't matter the camera. You can make a cinema build out of any one of these cameras that are out there on the market. And the cool thing about it, you have to think about a cinema rig like Legos, all right? You got all these pieces that you can put together. I have them right here out, you know, scattered on my table right now just to show you. It's just little components. It's your choice. I'm going to give you my recommendations, but it's your choice. That's the cool thing about it, is whatever's more important to you is the way you can build out your cinema rig. So what are the components? All right, let's go through this quickly. I wanted this to be a short video. What are the components that you need to go through the cinema rig? First thing, obviously, you need is the camera. All right, I mean, obviously, you need a camera to actually use, you know, to build the cinema rig, obviously. Okay, so you know, you need some brains. All right, this is the brain of the entire operation. Okay, without the camera there is no, you know, work. I'm just saying, without the camera, it doesn't work. The other thing you'll need next for your camera is going to be a cage, all right? The thing about cages is there's so many companies that makes them, like, you know, Small Rig is a very popular one. Condor Blue, if you have a little extra money. There's also Tilta. Tilta makes cages for various cameras, but that's cool. The thing about these cages is they are, you know, very versatile. What I mean by that is they have all of these threading points that you can add whatever part that you want to add to your build. They have all these connecting points. I call the cage your nervous system of your entire cinema build. The reason why is because through here is how everything that is part of your rig is going to be connected. So now with a cage added, I would go ahead and add my lenses. Another thing I would do is go ahead and take the battery out of your build. Okay, I'm gonna get to that later. You know, we'll see why later. You know, we're gonna explain it, but go ahead and take the battery out. You want to go ahead and add your lens, whether it requires an adapter for the R, any of the R systems. I use an adapter because I have EF lenses. The next thing I would add would be a base plate. All right, this base plate is from Small Rig. It has the 15mm rods here, so you can add those rods for, you know, something like a follow focus, anything else that you think would be applied, like something like a lens supporter. That's another thing. Some people like to add matte boxes through those rods, but this is how you'll get those rods added to your build. Another thing I like to do sometimes, like with my cinema cameras, I like to add two base plates, one that is a quick release, then at the bottom I'll add the rod system. Okay, the quick release allows me to go from handheld to tripod, from tripod to gimbal, so I like to have quick releases. Again, I use this system on my Z-Cam. I'll show you in some B-roll the way that works, you know, just, you know, being able to take it from the rod system and be able to add it to a tripod, take it from a tripod, add it to a gimbal, and back to the cinema rig. So I'm just saying there's a versatile way to do this, but you can start off with this if you would like. If you want, you have various options of next things you can go with. You can go with adding your handle to the side. All right, you have handles. You can always add a handle. I like this handle from Small Rig because there's actually a cold shoe mount. With this cold shoe mount, I would add something like a shotgun mic. Okay, you can easily add a shotgun mic to this system. When you have this here, you can add whatever you want. If you want to get bold, you can actually add a small monitor over to the side, but this is going to go onto the side of the cage. Okay, so this is going to be a great way to get your hands off of the camera, but also be able to stabilize your footage. Another mounting point is going to be this here top handle. So you're going to add this top handle. This one is a Small Rig NATO top handle. So as you can see, I have my cage here. What I can do is actually use this and I can snap that on. So there you go. Really easy, really quick, really versatile. And when I want to take it off, I can just take it right off. So I do like this system. I would recommend getting a top handle, preferably the NATO one, because it's very versatile when you're building your build out. And you know, it's another mounting point for your hands, but we'll get to the next step now when it comes to adding a monitor. So since we're talking about the top handle, we can talk about the Atomos Ninja 5 because that is going to be my monitor of choice. So you'll add this Atomos Ninja 5 actually to the top of this. The Atomos Ninja 5 is, multiple things. It's a monitor, but it's also an external recorder that is very well paired with something like the regular EOS R, the R5 and the R6, all right? If you want to record externally in ProRes 4K, all right? It's a very useful thing, but it's also a really, really good monitor with a lot of assist tools that you can go through and, whatever. This is not a video about the Atomos Ninja 5. A lot of you know about it, but it's a very versatile tool to have. But either way, adding a monitor to your cinema build is going to be great because you have a way larger screen than the screen that comes with your camera. So we're here now. Let's go ahead and add these little sticks here. You're going to add your rods, and these rods are going to be a connecting point for your follow focus. All right, if you want to use a manual follow focus, it's a great thing to have. Another reason you use this is maybe you want to mount your matte box to your rod system. You can do that. There's also a lens support, thing you can buy from Small Rig that you can add under your lens. Say for instance, if you're using something crazy like an 85mm lens, sometimes that can get a little heavy on your camera, so you can add a little lens support. So this rod system is very versatile. You can add multiple things to it, so I recommend you adding a rod system to your cinema build. So since we're talking about the rod system, let's talk about the mini mat tilter. This is a matte box that you actually don't have to add to the rod system. You can add it directly to your lens. There's two things that's cool about this. Number one, it's very small. It has a very sleek design. The whole point of this is you slide, right here, you can slide NDs in here. So like maybe a 4x4, ND filter, you can slide through here. You can take it out, slide it back in. But what's also cool is that this here is actually wide enough where you can add your variable ND filter. Now there's a trick to doing that. It's going to take some step up rings, and that's about it. Step up rings are very affordable to find. Just add those step up rings. You can actually add your variable ND filter that's on your lens to this mini mat setup. This is also very useful to use this door to block out a lot of sunlight. So mini mat box, larger mat box. Small Rig has one that is very big. If you want to go with that one, I also have that one. I'll show you some B-roll there. But yeah, mat box is something you may want to add to your versatile cinema build. So now to the part where I asked you to take out the battery from your camera. The reason why is because we're going to be using external power. You're going to need dummy things. All right. So the first thing I'm going to show you are going to be dummy batteries for both the Atomos Ninja 5 and also the Canon R system. Okay. So a very useful thing to have in your cinema rig is going to be a way to power your devices like your monitor and your camera. So that's the reason why I told you to, take that battery out of that Canon camera or whatever camera you're using. It could be a Sony. Take the battery out because you're going to need a dummy battery. So in this case, we have a dummy battery for the Atomos, which is the Sony NP batteries. We have the Canon LP dummy battery. So you're going to use these and actually connect it to something I'm going to show you in a moment. The cool thing about the Sony system is Sony is actually powered by USB-C. So instead of using a dummy battery for your Sony camera, you can actually just use a USB-C cable. So that's very useful. So this here's a V-mount battery. I use this to power my cinema builds. I'm actually powering my Zcam E2S6 with one right now, and I'm able to use this actually to power some of my lights. So it's a very versatile thing. It's something that you'll get multiple uses out. So I recommend getting one of these, but this is the way you're going to power everything. All right. So in this, you have D-tap, places to put power, and you also have USB places. So for those people that have Sonys that are going to be using USB-C to power, you also have a USB. For those people that are going to be using something like, the Atomos, Ninja 5, you got a D-tap, and for people that are also using something like Canon, you also have a D-tap too. Keep in mind, those options are directly to the battery. You don't need to do that. I'm going to show you what you should do. So this is the Camvate V-mount battery mount. All right. So with this, you have more versatile options for power instead of just USB and D-tap. You have D-tap, you have the USB, but you have two other places you can actually use to power the camera. You have the 7.2 volt and you have the 12 volt DC power. Okay. Make sure for your camera, you use the 7.2 volt. Do not use the 12. That is too much power for your camera and it will fry the camera. Do you want to make eggs with your camera? All right, then add it to the 12 volt. Do not do that. All right, do not do that. No omelets with the camera. Do not fry your camera, all right? 7.2 volt. Remember that. Please remember that. But the way this works is you'll take this V-mount battery and you have these mounting points and you'll just take it and you'll just, boom, connect it there. Wow, there you go. So now you can add this and you see here you have these rods, okay? And with these rods, you can add it to your rod system on your cinema build. All right, I'm just trying to bring it all home for you. It all connects, it all makes sense. Cool thing about it is you have a power switch too, so you can power it on at any time and you can power it off. So I recommend these. All right, anything you're doing, doesn't matter what you're doing, I always recommend that you own a V-mount battery, at least one. They can be very, very useful in your arsenal. Now, the other thing I would ask you to add, if you're not using a camera with autofocus, is going to be a manual focus wheel, all right? A follow focus, okay? I use it for my Z Cam. Again, I'll show you some B-roll of that, all right? That's the main place I use it. Usually with these Canon cameras and even Sony cinema cameras, Canon cinema cameras, they have really good autofocus. So if you want to, you can rely on autofocus. You can do that. But, you know, just using a cinema build is just so much more, you know, we'll say it just feels like your footage is alive. A gimbal is just so robotic. You know what it's gonna do. It's very predictable. But when you're using a cinema build, no, you know, you got a couple things going on. You're adding more weight, so your footage is gonna turn out way more stable. Number two, you're gonna be able to move with your subject the way you want to. All right, a gimbal is not as responsive as a human body. We can just move faster with the cinema build than we ever could with the gimbal because it takes time. We got to move with the gimbal, and the gimbal has to know what we're doing. It's a lot of communication going on. But when you're using a cinema rig, it's kind of an extension of your body. So I recommend doing that. I hope this helps you all. I just want to make a real quick tip on how you can build your cinema rig. I hope this helps. Please like, comment, subscribe to your boy. You know, we're gonna need that. We're trying to grow this thing. We appreciate you. And you know, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to see some of your cinema rigs. Please follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram and you can send me some of your cinema rigs. I would love that. Okay, but I'll see you all on the next video. Peace out.